Hey guys, Eagle here, and welcome back again to another episode inside of the Nomifactory modpack. In the last episode, we worked on getting an early game source of power by growing large amounts of sugarcane thanks to the SNAD, and then funneling that into the steam dynamo's fuel. We also got some more storage into the base to help with crafting, and also the increase in materials we will begin to need as we start machine crafting. In the time between the last episode and this one, I read all the comments from the previous episodes and learned a few things. The first is that I can use these redstone conduits and a timer filter to make the SNAD sugarcane setup run even faster. I also was reminded about multi-blocks and their chunk alignment. And as you can see, we are going to need to change this one just in case. Another tip from you guys about the multi-blocks was that they can be wall shared, which at the time I wasn't too concerned about, but think it will be important going forward for sure. Thanks again for all the comments and tips. I really do appreciate it, and we'll try to continue to learn from you all down there. I also went on a small mining trip to get the lead we would need to make our first batteries. I then spent our first Nomi nickels of the playthrough to buy some lithium and stibnite to complete the batteries we will need to fill up our battery buffer and get us completely set up to make and use the LV Wiremill. I also took some of that silver that we acquired during our last mining session and used it for yet another furnace upgrade, thus completing another quest. Alright, here we are, back into the world. And there are some major crafting going on here. Right, we got a lot of stuff going on. I've been prepping a lot of these crafting stations to craft a lot of the things we're going to need here going forward. I got this one set up to make the resistors and the vacuum tubes and a lot of the stuff we're going to need to make that. So I made a decent amount of those and then started pushing them into here. And this is going to be where we're going to get an easier setup made to craft our electronic circuits. So right now I'm currently making a bunch of steel so that we can do that, and then all I need left is to make a bunch of red alloy, which I'm currently smelting a lot of copper for to make some red alloy. And then I think the only other thing left we have is the circuit board, which we just cover in fine copper wire and a coated circuit board, which we have a few of those. We just got to get some copper wire, which easily enough, we have access to that in here. And once we craft all that stuff up, I will come back to you and show you guys me crafting. Hopefully, it looks like a couple electronic circuits. I think we need 2 for the LV Wiremill, and that's the goal right now because I want to get that thing going because I am already tired of crafting wires this way, and it is inefficient as all get out. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get that rocking and rolling here and get our LV Wiremill up and going. Okay, I think we have everything we need in this crafting station to go ahead and craft ourselves up not 1, not 2, but hopefully 3 electronic circuits. Let's go ahead and lock that recipe, and we have our 3 electronic circuits. I think this is a pretty good start. I think if I really wanted to, I could have made quite a bit more, but the limiting factor right now was just my willingness to go through and do all the annoying crafting steps for the vacuum tube. I'm hoping I can just make 2, get the wire mill going, and it's going to make my life much simpler. So we've got 3 electronic circuits, and 2 of which are going to be needed for the wire mill, which I have the recipe for down here. Let's double check that. Okay, cool. So got our 2 electronic circuits. Let's go ahead and save this recipe in here. Looks like we're also going to need 2 1x10 cables, not too bad. The LV machine hole, which is also not too bad, just more tin, steel, and some iron, not too bad. But the thing that I think is going to be a little bit more difficult to craft is these 4 LV electric motors, which we're going to need to magnetize an iron rod in order to do so. So we're going to need a lot of iron, a lot of copper, not too much tin, but let's figure out how we're going to magnetize this rod. Okay, super simple, just putting some redstone on it. Let's go ahead and save that recipe as well. But in the voiceover section that I did at the beginning of this episode, I said that I was going to start making some batteries for this, and I realized that I had forgotten about doing that. So I need to go ahead and make the battery holes and then the subsequent batteries in order to fill that thing up so we can actually start using it. So let's check the battery hole, which is just alloys. And let's go ahead. I realized also I talked about buying some ores with our Nomi nickels, which I have them here in my inventory. I never actually did it. So I have the recipes for it here. So lithium, okay, here. So it's just one in the top middle and the bottom middle. So let's craft some of that. Okay, and we got ourselves some lithium. And now the next one we're going to need is stibnite, which is a little bit more expensive. Just takes 4 of those bad boys right here. Okay, cool. So now we have lithium and some stibnite. So this stibnite is going to make the antimony that we're going to need to combine with the lead, I believe, to make the plates for the battery hole. Let's see what that is. If I was correct in saying that. Yes, it was 1 antimony dust and 4 lead dust. So this is the recipe we're going to be looking for. So let's go ahead and start smelting some of this stuff up. I have some stuff smelting right now, kind of getting ready for what we're going to need here in a minute. So let's go ahead and put some of that in here, some of the lithium in here. Very nice. More stibnite. Somehow got 16 there, or 15. Okay, perfect. So we got a good amount going. I realize now, in looking at that recipe, that I maybe shouldn't have been turning all of my iron into wrought iron. And I think I have maybe a little bit of extra. Yeah, I have 37, which realistically is probably enough for what I'm going to need as far as iron is concerned, because making the rods isn't too bad. It's a 1-to-1 conversion. But the steel, however, I know I'm going to constantly be needing steel, so I've just been kind of keeping that going using our new, more compacted primitive blast furnace setup. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some of our ingots and stuff in here. I've been trying to get things a little bit more organized, and it'll hopefully only get better as more things become available to us. So let's go ahead, put some more stuff in here. I know I got a lot going on right now. My brain's kind of in 1,000 different places, and that's kind of the point of this pack, is you kind of got to get your wits about you before you start doing anything of note. Right, so antimony, lithium, done. Perfect. Antimony ingots. Oh, I need lead too. Lithium dust, perfect. We're going to need that. So I just got a little bit ahead of myself there. We need to get some lead. So let's do, may as well just make 2 stacks of it for the time being. Not too bad, since we also had the perfect amount of coal in these for some of them. Perfect. So let's go ahead and smelt that. I will say, these silver furnaces are very, very nice. I am enjoying how fast they are smelting up the lead. Very nice. I also see that these smelt into ingots, which I need the dust form of both of these things. Let's just double check and see, make sure there's no like bar recipe. Okay, no, there's not. No. Okay, so I need to crush these into their respective dusts, allowing us to make what we need. Not too bad. In the crafting I was doing before, I actually made myself a steel mortar, which is already about half durability. So yeah, so antimony. Let's start with 16, and the lead, we're going to make all of it. Also 16, very nice. And then now, theoretically, take the antimony, take the lead, and we get a 4 battery alloy dust. So we've got 16 of those things, which I believe will be exactly the right amount we are going to need to to make our battery holes. The exact 4 we are going to need. So let's go ahead and put some more fuel in here. Fuel is also becoming an issue. I did a chopping spree of all the trees outside, so I know we're going to continue to need more fuel. So I don't know about that one. If there's a more efficient way for me to get fuel for furnaces and or our blast furnaces, let me know. I heard some people talk about the coke oven and turning coal into coal coke, and using charcoal and making it charcoal coke. I don't know if that's really worth it, but we'll see. If I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know. But for the time being, I feel like we're just going to kind of keep slumming it, which is all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all of our bars out of here. I will say the battery alloy and the lead being very similar is kind of annoying because I'm not too sure what's what. So let's try to separate these. All right, so another quest complete. Very soon here, we're gonna have to go through our quest book and accept a lot of those quests. I know we've completed at least 2 or 3 now that we need to go back into and get those. Now, battery hull, 2 battery alloy plates, and a tin cable. So, tin wire. I know one of these, we have a tin wire recipe. Now we just got to go and make 4 of those tin wires. Sure enough, we do. I don't have the wrought iron cutter or tin plates. Can we at least make these? Sure. Okay, so we'll make a few of those, and let's just borrow the steel wire cutter from over here for the time being. 2, 3, 4. We got some extra in there as well. Now, finish it off by making our tin cables. All right, so now I believe another step is creating our actual battery alloy plates. We'll go ahead and craft all 8 of those and then combine this with this tin cable. Bada boom, bada bing. We got our 4 small battery holes. Now, we are not done. You're never done. You're always crafting. Lithium battery. All we got to do, combine our small battery holes with our lithium, and we get our small lithium battery. Let's go ahead and move those recipes in here. We have our lithium dust already prepared, and there we go. We got our 4 small lithium batteries. Now with these, this is the fun part. We can actually start getting battery buffer going, and we can put these all in here, and they can start to collect some energy for us. And that will be very nice going forward, because going along this line here is where we're going to have a few of our initial machines, and we'll try to tidy things up in between episodes, make it look a little bit nicer. But for right now, I think that's a pretty good spot. I will be back in a second once I have more of the necessary materials that we're going to need to craft the wire mill. I think I'm going to need a few more things. I'm just going to go ahead and craft that because you kind of saw me do a lot of crafting here, so I don't want you to see too much of that, hopefully. And then I will be back in just one moment. Back into it again here. Little short break from where we left off last time. Not a whole lot happened since then, but one thing I did realize that I'm running a little bit low on, and it should be fine now, is some redstone. And I think once we put this through these furnaces, we won't have an issue with redstone anymore. So let's go ahead and start doing that, because I believe you get 5 per, which is not a bad little conversion rate. Not too bad. We are going to need this to continue crafting. So we are getting very close now to crafting the LV wire mill. I've gotten more components made. I made this LV machine hole. I showed me crafting this in a previous episode, so I figured no reason for me to go through and show you it again. But what we do need is some magnetic rods, and I think based on that we're going to need 4 of them. So I'm trying to make 4 magnetic rods and then another 8 regular iron rods. So we need to go get our iron somewhere around here. I think it's in a chest. Should be in this one up here. 37 should be plenty for now. So let's make our iron rods in here. Okay, regular iron rod. All we need is a file, which is in one of these. Okay, put the file in here. We're going to need 8 regular, 4 magnetic. Very nice. Let's take our 4 and then magnetize these bad boys with redstone. Cool. Got 4 magnetic iron rods and another additional 8 regular iron rods. This is for making the LV pistons that we're going to need in the basic wire mill. Continuing on, we have our tin cables that we need already made. So we just need 8 of them for the 4 pistons. So we're good there. And now we need 16 fine copper wire, which, if you remember right, I have that setup already made. Foil and into the plates. Cool. Okay. So how much did I say? I said I needed 16. Okay, and there's 16 of it. Now we need this, and of course I'm moving around the wire cutter. Eventually I will fill all these up with with good tools. But for right now, yeah, we're kind of shuffling them around a little bit. So 16 fine copper wires, and I think that should be everything we're gonna need to craft our 4 pistons. So let's make one of those. I would like to save the recipe because it's kind of annoying. But I don't know if I want to do it in this one. I guess this is as good as any of them. So let's go ahead and draw out this recipe. And we need the iron rods. Very nice. Magnetic rods. And finally, our tin cables. Cool. 4V electric motors. All right. Now that we have those motors crafted, we should be good to go to craft our basic wire mill. Finally, it's been a long, long journey to get here. Oh, gotta put these in here. It's been a long journey to get here, but we finally have our first machine that's gonna help us in saving some time and materials. Let's craft the basic wire mill. Perfect. Very cool. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit intimidating. It is a bit intimidating. Let's go ahead and grab this wrench. So it produces wires more efficiently. So let's go ahead and try to find our conductive iron cable and kind of see what this thing does. So let's go ahead and find one. I know we have one around here somewhere. And if not, I can always make one. But I thought I made... Okay, well, here's one. Here we go. So 1x conductive iron wire, which is 1 amp. And I think this will do... I believe this will also do 4 amps, right? I'm not sure how that works. I don't think it will burn up this cable. I think just to be safe, we're going to make a 4x one, just to be safe. So let's go ahead and see where we're at with that. Conductive iron. We have some of that. Let's take more of this. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, conductive iron dust. I don't have any redstone in here anymore. Let's take a couple of them. Got 7 conductive iron. Okay, perfect. Not too bad. Let's just go ahead and smelt down this conductive iron. Nice little extra bonus in redstone we can have for later. I don't know for sure. I thought it would normally tell me the amperage on this as well, but it says 32 EU a tick it can accept, which I think is just 1 amp of LV. If I'm remembering it correctly, right? It's 1 amp of LV is 32 volts a tick, which is what it can accept. So I think it would be fine for this. I think the whole point is that I can run 4 1 amp machines off the 1 battery buffer, theoretically, I think is what the goal is. And that's at any given time. I can obviously disconnect them and run any 4 I choose from 1 battery buffer. So let's make some conductive iron plates now. Very nice. And then from here, we can turn them into cables. Oh, other way around. I always do that with this recipe. Okay. And we got 4 more. Let's just go ahead. We're going to need to make a lot more of these, and I probably won't always use the conductive iron, although I guess it's really not that difficult to craft. But yeah, we got a couple wires here to test, just in case we need to. All right, let's see here. Let's go back over to our setup finally and get this thing hooked up. I'm going to need the wire cutter as well, just to make sure that this thing is connected. So let's grab our steel wire cutter from one of these. Very nice, and let's go ahead and start. I'm not gonna lie. Let's place it down first and kind of see what we're looking at. Does it say what side it can be accepted power from? I think maybe the best bet is to just we're gonna have to move it anyway because we don't have enough cable, but we'll move it to here and let's just try to put this cable here. Okay, wire cutter, let's connect that. We don't need that. And connect this. And are we getting any power is the real question. It says we are. Very nice. So we got this thing powered up. And this is where my knowledge of the wire mill stops. So I think, I don't know what we need. If we need some kind of programmed circuit to make things into wires, or if it's just as simple as putting in some ingots. So I guess we'll just try that. Let's just try putting in 2 copper ingots and see if it spits out some cables. I think we need to give it some kind of a program. Let's see here. Let's go look at the copper wire and see what our recipes are. So we want a recipe for this copper wire. Let's just check it. Copper wire. Okay. So recipe. Recipe. And it can be made in the Wiremill. Okay, so this is the thing I was talking about. We need a programmed circuit, which I don't even really understand how we make one. So it looks like we just turn a regular circuit into a programmed circuit, which seems pretty expensive to me, but it's a good thing that we already have one left over. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a programmed circuit. Now, I don't know how we program these, but it says configuration 1. There must be a bunch of different configurations that you can do with this. Okay, wow. Now we're getting into the complex stuff a little bit. Let's just put this in here, and let's see, left click with a program circuit in hand to set the slot's config. Let's put it to 0. I think, is it 0 or 1? We need to put it to 1. This should make ourselves our first copper wires made in a wire mill. Okay. And man, that was actually a lot quicker than I thought it would be. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so I guess we put the program circuit in here, and this is where we adjust the actual program, and then this is just like telling us basically that we have one and it's programmed. So not too bad. So we have the wire mill all ready to go. I'm definitely going to do some adjusting and obviously get some more cables available and hopefully tidy this up a little bit so it's not as gross. I'll probably switch it over to this side and use this wall so it's not in front of our glass, because that kind of defeats the purpose. But I'm not too upset about this. I'm pretty excited. This is kind of my first step into some actual technology here. I'm a little bit excited. Let me know if I'm missing anything though, because I can almost guarantee that I am. We'll try to work on automating this in terms of like having hoppers go into chests and whatever. I think it can push items in and out of it without any kind of configuration, but we will see. Hoppers might be the easiest option we have so far, but I don't know. So I'm going to take a second. I'm going to reconfigure this a little bit, get this thing on this side, and I will get back to you. Have this readjusted now to the other side. And one thing that I learned is I don't actually have to have the programmed circuit inside of the wire mill for it to work. So it seems as though I'll be able to use these on multiple different machines to program them, which is very nice. And it makes the fact that it takes an entire LV circuit to make kind of out of the equation, theoretically. So that's not too bad. I also use this to craft up some more 1x conductive iron wire. And here's why. If I'm going to want to have multiple machines running off of this battery buffer, which is outputting in 4 amps LV, I'm going to need a cable coming out of here that can accept it. So I need to run a 4x conductive iron wire. Probably I'm going to do it behind all these machines I'm going to have on this wall. Into the back of these. So if I use a 4x conductive cable or wire, I can actually utilize all 4 amps that this thing can provide. Because in the current configuration, I could only run one machine at a time of power. So that's what we're going to have to do. That's not something that I'm interested in doing at the current moment in time, because I only have enough to make 5 of these, which is fine. So I'll have that configured in the time between this episode and the next one. But one thing I want to do, it's been a long time since we've taken a look at our quest book. Let's go ahead and check this out. In Genesis, there's actually some things in here that we've completed. One of this being the battery buffer from the last one. So let's claim our Nomi nickel. It looks like, well, we skipped this one. We'll make more batteries at some point, so I'm not too worried about this, but we would have completed that one as well. Okay, so I need to take better care in looking at this as we go. But that one's done. We also have the furnace. can take that, and the next step would be gold, which honestly we might actually be able to do. Not too bad. I think we have enough gold to make that. But now we can move on to the next one, and the LV wire mill for what? Oh, jeez. Okay, so I majorly screwed up. I didn't put the LV electric motors in my inventory to complete this quest. So we're going to have to make 4 more of those to complete this quest to progress. But the thing that I wanted to look at is over here to the top left from the wire mill, and that is these pistons, because they are going to be used to craft a lot of machines that we are going to need. For instance, the bending machine and the extractor, all of these are used to make those machine parts, like the wires that we have from our wire mill, to progress us on. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to be going for. And the thing I want to go for first is the bending machine, because the bending machine is used to make plates, I believe. So I think, yeah, we use it to make plates. This is a metal bender, so it's not the same thing. But basic bending machine, I'm pretty sure it's used to make plates, so I'm not really that worried about it. But that's going to be the next thing we're going to want to automate to save us some materials. I believe it does 2 plates from 3 ingots as opposed to 4, so not quite as efficient. But it's it's anything we can take. I'll take. So yeah, I want to also go up here to the top right into the LV alloy smelter. I think that'll just be a little bit easier of a way to make steel. And that's going to kind of take us into more of another multi-block we can create in the steam grinder. And this is kind of where I was going to ask you guys for a little bit of help. I wanted to know if it was worth it to go into the steam grinder or just have a setup of a few macerators. Because from my understanding, they do the same thing. I don't know. I feel like I might just make it just because it's cool and it's a multi-block, even though the majority of our macerating will be done in a macerator. But maybe there's one that's clearly better than the other one, and we'll see. But regardless, there's a lot going on here, and it all starts with go ahead and recrafting our LV electric motors, which aren't too bad to craft. So I'm not super worried about it. But like I said, all of this is going to be taking us into this pistons part of this quest where we're going to make a bunch of machines that we are going to need to craft the various different parts going forward. And that's never going to stop. We're going to need these. So we're going to have to understand how they all work and how to craft all of them. So give me one moment. I will be back once I actually complete this quest. And then I will progress into the pistons. Okay. After that major blunder, we have crafted our 4 LV electric motors, and we're back. So the quest finally did complete. So we can go ahead and go in here and claim our reward for that. Now we can actually go ahead and double check up here what the LV piston is going to require. Okay, so it says up here, a piston is a specialized motor, which is needed to make certain machines. One of the more intricate components as it is made using a motor. Okay, so let's see what the recipe is. Okay. So steel or wrought iron. I wonder why there's both. If I were to take a guess, I would imagine this recipe will become more relevant once we get the alloy smelter. So it'll make more sense to use steel than to make wrought iron. But maybe I'm wrong. So I would imagine we're probably just going to make the wrought iron version because as far as I can tell, it's exactly the same. And it should also complete the quest. So we need 2 of them for the goal. And the goal for this, making this piston, the first thing we're going to make, I think, is the bending machine. And I think that's based purely on the fact that I think I have the materials I need to craft it fairly simply. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the order that I should be trying to craft things in. I'm sure I'm doing everything wrong, and you guys will let me know. But that's okay, because we're going to learn this together. So let's go ahead and try to craft ourselves a piston. We have that in here. I don't know why I have the wire mill saved. Oh, I just made it in here. Okay, so it's actually kind of a good thing that we made the 4 extra electric motors, because 2 of these are going to turn into pistons, and the other 2 we're going to use in crafting the bender. So it kind of worked out. So let's go ahead and see the piston recipe one more time, and we will save it up in here. So let's use the wrought iron. Perfect. Okay, so we need to make 3 wrought iron plates, which we have right in here, wrought iron plates, and then we're also going to need 2 wrought iron rods. Not too bad. I think those are just a file. And the ingot. There we go. 2 of those bad boys. And a gear. This is a little bit more. Okay, so we are going to need to get a little bit more technical here. So we need 4 more plates and 4 more rods. Okay, now we can craft the wrought iron gear. Very good. Okay, so we have our 2 rods, our 3 plates, our wrought iron gear, and we also need our motor, which we already have, and 2 1x insulated tin cable. Okay, so here is where we're going to help ourselves out and take some tin ingots from one of these chests, and if we don't have any, we're going to go get some. So it looks like we used a lot of tin wire. So we're just going to go ahead and help ourselves out and take 32 tin ingots and craft ourselves some wires. So we're just going to go ahead and make a big load of those here. Hopefully it can support this. Very nice. And we got a decent little backup here of power in these small lithium batteries. But I think we will definitely need to ramp up the supply at some point. But this is a pretty good start. And I got to say, it's a lot nicer watching this number just go up and not me having to make plates and then trim them, right, at a less efficient rate. This is making me very excited. Let's go ahead and take 8 of these tin cables. I realize now that I'm doing the things I need to just make 1 piston, so we're going to have to double the recipe. But for the time being, I'll just show crafting the 1, and then we'll go from there. So, insulated. We need rubber plates. We have a decent amount in here. I think we need 2, but we're going to need to double it, so I'll bring 4. Put those in here. 1x tin cable. There we go. We got 4 of those bad boys. Now, we should have everything we need to make a LV electric piston. Very nice. Okay, so there's one of them. So let's go ahead and just, while we're at it, craft the second one. 3 of those. We need actually 4 more because we're going to need to make the gear. The gear takes another 4. The file. 4, and we need 6 because the gear takes 4. Okay. Starting to get the hang of things a little bit here as I get more familiar with the recipes. So that's a good thing. So I think we have everything we need now to make ourselves yet another LV electric piston. Very cool. So that was very big time difference between the second one and the first one. But we have our 2 LV electric pistons and our 2 LV electric motors that we are going to need to craft ourselves the bender. Back into the recipe. Got this quest completed. All right, so that opened up a lot for us. Let's go into the bending machine and check this bad boy out. Let's save this recipe. Okay, very nice. And what does this thing require? And what do we have available to us? Okay, so we have our 2 LV electric pistons and our 2 LV electric motors. Steel plate, no big deal. Tin cable, no big deal. LV machine hole, no big deal. Just takes a decent amount of materials. And then 2 more advanced circuits. So it's very clear to me now, and a lot of you guys said it in the comments from the last episode, that we are going to need quite a bit of those LV circuits for the time being. So I think what I'm going to do is take one moment and gather a lot of materials that we need to craft a decent amount of these LV circuits and craft those up, because I think we're going to need at least 2 of them per machine for the rest of the time of the LV age. So I'm going to go ahead and take a second, use this one to craft ourselves up some electronic circuits, and then we're going to jump right into crafting our bender. Okay, we have finished crafting all of the necessary parts that we're going to need to make this bending machine, including the electronic circuits. I will say, the time that I have saved from having these recipes and everything saved in here has been immense already, I can already tell. And I haven't even done like super batch crafting yet. I don't quite have the materials yet to do so. I've been kind of crafting near exact numbers with a little bit of extra. So let's go ahead and inside of here, take our basic bending machine. Take our basic bending machine, move the recipe over, and push everything in. Sure enough, basic bending machine. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, well, because I don't quite have the power setup managed yet, what I'm going to do is grab the wrench from here. And I'm going to go ahead and take away this wire mill. I'm not really worried about the power. It's not a big deal. And then we're going to put the bending machine in. And it is being powered. Now, to use the bending machine, I believe we're going to need a plate. So we're going to do, let's do steel on this one. So we need a steel plate. Okay, steel plate. Which one do we need? Just this one. Steel plate recipe. Here, we can use the metal bender. I think this is the same thing. So we just need to have it in program circuit 1, which you already have. So let's shift right click. Shift right click. Yep, have that in there. And let's see, theoretically, I think I can just take some steel and make ourselves some steel plates in here. Let's take, it doesn't just do one at a time, or does it? Oh, it's 1-to-1. All right, well, very, very, very cool. Let's go ahead and make ourselves 8 of those bad boys then. This is awesome, 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 awesome. Very cool. So we're already getting into the age where we're starting to save a lot of materials, and this is very cool. So I think that's where we're going to call it here in this episode, guys. We got quite a lot done. Okay, we made ourselves the basic wire mill and made it to where we can get very, very cheap wires. And then we got the basic bending machine, which is going to give us very cheap plates, which right now were kind of the things that were costing a lot of our materials. And using these, it's only going to accelerate the amount of circuits and plates and wires that we're going to be able to use in our crafting of other things. So I'm very, very excited. I do have some stuff I'm going to get done in between episodes, like getting this area here set up a little bit nicer using the conductive iron wires. So when we get back, you'll be able to see all these machines here, well, all 2 of them at least, sitting next to each other, ready to be used. So for the time being, I appreciate you guys for watching. And if you stuck around all the way, may as well just go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see some more. But yeah, other than that, it's been Eagle. Peace.